WestCoast Podcast. I'm Shane, and with me is my guy Trey.
Yes, sir. We got Shane Avilli the Dawn in the building, and we got the guy Trey is Raw in the building, and we're coming at you guys on a Thursday instead of a Friday. So that's always a good thing, but the weekend is more or less starting, and that's what we like to fancy ourselves as. We like to give you guys a little bit of a pregame for your weekend before you engage in whatever weekend activities that you participate in. So that's always a good thing, but we appreciate you guys supporting and showing love to the podcast. We're trying to be consistent with it. The times that we do these podcasts, it might be Thursday or Friday, but we are consistent. I would say at least bringing you guys a podcast every other week. Might be 3 a.m. one day, it might be 12 a.m. one day, but by God, we will get you guys a podcast, or at least we try to every other week. But shout out to my guy Shane. He's been putting in a lot of work on the family, making sure the family's getting taken care of, and he's also been doing some streaming and staying consistent on the Madden side of things. But with all that being said, Shane, how have you been doing these last couple weeks? Let our lovely audience know what's been going on with you.
I appreciate it, Trey. And Trey's damn right, man. Trey's really, really good at working around my schedule, so I appreciate him like always. Yeah, I think we have been pretty consistent, Trey. Honestly, every other weekend. Um, but no, basically last week I did a lot of Madden, couple streams, and then this week it's been sporadic. I haven't been able to stream, unfortunately, so kind of lack the consistency right there. But only because I've been running around like a chicken with his head cut off, and while my wife has been out of town, so got two kids, got to run the house, plus do some other stuff. But no, man, it's going good, and for everybody, if they are free this weekend, I will be streaming live the tournament. It's an MCS tournament. They just dropped it yesterday. It's the Madrid Live event. There was no notice. There was no word of it. People thought that there wasn't going to be a tournament until November, but this one does not count for MCS points, so is the main thing. But I mean, in the end, it doesn't really matter. It's another tournament they're putting out. And for everybody, just so they know, this weekend and next weekend is basically try to make top 544, and then you move on to single limbs. And for the round robin, I will be streaming this weekend for all people, non-members and paid members, and then single elimination, if I do get there, will be for the paid members. So my wife went to Sleep Token in Portland, Oregon last night. I guess a bunch of people are into them now. I guess they originated in like 2016 out of London. They don't show their faces. I think there's only been one or two uh, interviews they've ever done in life. And interesting, and I'm not going to get on the whole religion, like politics stuff, but a lot of people were wondering if it is satanic. And from what I read, it is not at all. It's basically like just like I don't know. It's just like the guy's like a sleep vessel or whatever. So like a sleep god. It'd be just like just I don't know. I think it's just for fun and interesting. It's not my cup of tea, but it is my wife. She's into like bands like Slipknot and Tool and all those. And Trey, I think you said your girl's into Sleep Token. Did she just get into it, or has she been into them for like a few years?
Yeah, no, basically, man. Yeah, it's kind of like you said. I guess from what I've gathered is that they are very meticulous in the way that they present themselves. They don't do a whole lot of interviews, and yeah, like you said, she definitely likes Sleep Token. I had never heard of them before. She told me about them, but I kind of looked her up, and I would say their music is good. I don't really know if it's something that I would fancy personally, but I definitely like the whole appeal of celebrities and people that rarely do interviews because I think the mystique, like like the whole mystique of who's this person like behind the scenes, and nowadays when you have like a million podcasts going on, it can get kind of tedious because you kind of see, okay, I know how this guy is behind the scenes, and so but when you have someone that they don't show their faces, then it definitely adds to that whole mystery there. So yeah, that's a good thing. And another thing that caught my eye, Shane, as you were talking was you're talking about taking the train. Now I'm someone that has been on a lot of Greyhounds in my life, unfortunately. The whole train thing, I never took a train. So is that something that you have taken in the past, and would you recommend it to someone? Would
Bro, I'm gonna be honest. I've never been on a train in my life. My wife is catching a train. I don't know if it's her first time or what. Usually, when we go somewhere, we drive or we fly. And honestly, I'm not a fan of flying either. My wife loves flying. My wife, I mean, my wife is more of a free spirit. I'll say that. She'll go up in an airplane and be fine. We're like, not it's not for me. But yeah, I think it might be her only first time on a train, but I'm not entirely sure. But catching the late train home from Portland, Oregon, so we'll see how that goes.
All right, sounds good. So I guess you'll have to text me and let me know what she thinks. You can have her give her a review for me on that. But so you're in Spokane, and you told me that you kind of grew up in the country. So I mean, are you kind of just immune to like the hustle and bustle of city life? Like, you get into a car and then you get on the freeway. Like, do you still kind of get nervous when the traffic is really thick, or are you just kind of immune to it, and you kind of turn into like those aggressive drivers that are always like honking and doing all that stuff?
Oh man, hey yo, that's funny, Trey, that you brought up about the honking thing. I got a little bit of a story today. So I lived in the country for half my life outside Cheney, um, smaller town. I mean, I think there's like 10,000 now. I think it was like 5,000 when I grew up. When I first moved into the city, no lie, I couldn't sleep because there was too much noise. It took me a few days. It might have taken me a week. It's a long time ago, but I knew it took me at least a couple days to like be able to sleep with hearing cars, hearing honking, hearing people talking outside. Because like when I say I'm in the country, it was like my family and then across the street, but a huge long driveway was another neighbor, and then you'd have to go up like the street around the corner on the street, and there'd be another neighbor. So it was not what it was. And like when I tell you the country was pitch black, it was pitch black. I'm not gonna lie. When I'd go down there to get something from my mom out of the car, and it was pitch black, it was a little bit eerie, bro. Like your mind plays tricks on you, right? I would hustle down, get it, hustle back up, but no, I mean, I definitely got used to it. I will understand how people can get fears and kind of like stop doing things that they don't haven't done it for a while. Like, and when I mean stop doing things they haven't done for a while, like I hadn't caught the freeway for like 2, 3 months, and one day I get on the road and I'm going on the freeway, and like my brain just like triggered me with like anxiety of like damn, this is like people are flying around me. But then like quickly, like obviously I went back to normal, but I hadn't been away from the freeway for a long time because see, I'm on the north side. The freeway's like 30 minutes away from me, 25 minutes away from me, so I don't always have to go that way anymore, especially since like my brother moved up north. When my parents come into town, they come up like to my side or my brother's side. um and I haven't been out to my parents' house like in like probably 7, 8 months because they'd rather come into town for whatever. Like, but nah, Trey, I can definitely tell why people would get fears, and then the fears would overtake them from doing stuff because your mind, we've had this conversation before, your mind is very strong. It's like when I was going to the gym every day, bro, getting ready for Hoop Fest, my brain was like, hell yeah, get me in the gym, bro. Let me lift those weights. And then when you haven't gone to the gym for a while, like I've been walking a lot, bro, but I haven't been to the gym for probably like a month straight, but I've been walking probably 9,000, 10,000 steps, and I'm craving the walking, whereas I don't want to go to the gym. It just seems annoying, which I'm going to get back into it just because, I want to walk a lot plus lift weights. But I guess that's what I'm saying with how your brain works. If you don't do something for a long time, it doesn't want you to do it. It'll either try to scare you or try to make it feel like it's the worst thing to do. The honking though, bro. No, I don't. My wife is the impatient one. My wife is the one that if the red light turns green and the person's still sitting there for like a second, she'll honk. And I'll be like, yo, don't do that. You're going to get me into the fight, not you. But I mean, it doesn't matter. She's super impatient. But like, so today, same thing happened to me. Like this big, like the big country truck that you could picture a country guy in truck. He's right behind me, and it was a red light. And I looked down really quick because I got a text message. By the time I looked down and started to look back up, he laid on the horn on me, bro. And I looked up and it was green. So I'd probably say honestly it was like 1 second, just like how my wife reacts, like annoyed, hurry up. So I laid on my horn back at him and then started. And the funny thing was after I laid on the horn tray back at him, he drove so slow behind me. Like I just pulled away from him. And it's crazy because I don't know, man. Like I understand keep your eyes on the road, pay attention, all that stuff, but like it's not like I was sitting at like a red light that turned green for like 3, 4 seconds and wasn't paying attention. It was literally like a snap of the finger. And he laid on the horn and he just was like just like my wife. But nah, bro, I laid on my horn back at him and he like let me go and then barely drove behind me. So that's my story, Trey.
Yeah, no, that is definitely wild. That is a crazy story. You got people in big old trucks honking their horn for all we got to dip in and all that good stuff. And it's like, I mean, you grew up in the early 2000s. Those were your teenage years, and and I'm thinking about this because we're talking about like driving and stuff. How did you guys, when you started driving? I don't know if you got your license when you were 16 or 17, but I mean, it doesn't really matter. Like, how were you able to like navigate? Because GPSs didn't really. I mean, they existed back then, but they were like, they didn't have them built into every smartphone. You know what I mean? So like, would you say that you're pretty good at directions? Did you ever get lost and all that stuff?
You know, that is that is funny that you bring that up, bro, because so I don't know if you remember, like, if you watch like old movies or old TV shows where they like are driving on vacation and they pull out that big map, um, like it's just a huge map to give you directions how to get somewhere. I literally lived that, bro. My dad would have to go to the gas station sometimes and pay like $1.99 to buy a map so we could follow it to get to like Kelso, Washington, or in Oregon coast when we go down there for vacation, which I was really lucky to go on vacations and stuff. But yeah, you had to bring maps, and honestly, I was a late driver, Trey. More so because my mom said I had to pay for my first car. And so I was just like, whatever. And I had friends, that scooped me up. So more laziness, I guess, on my side. Plus, it wasn't a big deal. Like, I had a curfew. I lived in the country. If I wanted to like hang out with my friends on the weekend, I'd just spend the night over there, or they'd spend the night at my house and we'd chill and hang out at my house. So it wasn't that big of a deal. But yeah, I think I was 19 when I got my license, bro. And honestly, it probably saved my life in my personal opinion because I was 19 when I rolled my car when I hit the deer, and I hadn't been driving that long, and I just think at 16 I probably would have made even a worse mistake trying to overcorrect instead of kind of overcorrecting, if that makes sense. Um, I think I'm not a I'm not a huge fan, bro, of getting kids to have like their licenses at 16 or rush them to make them feel like they need to get their license at 16, 17 just because they're super young. And on a different take, Trey, it is wild to me that we don't let people drink alcohol at 18, but they can go to war at 18. Make that make sense, bro. Make it make sense. But yeah, so we did have to use the big old maps, Trey.
Yeah, no, definitely. And you know, you said like, you know, people that are 16, 17, we shouldn't be out there, you know, risking them to get driver's licensing because, you know, they're immature. I mean, obviously teenagers don't make the best decisions. But also, I think we should start looking into like the 80-year-olds that are behind the wheel. That I mean, the one thing, like, even though you know the younger generation, they're more reckless, but their reaction time is very much better than like the old people that are on the road, just like you know, completely clueless and stuff. So yeah, that's also something that we should probably be talking about when it
Uh,
comes to driving. But
Trey, can you hear me?
you know, we got on this tangent
Can
about
you hear me?
transportation and driving. Shout out to you know people. If you've never seen the movie Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, you definitely need to go see it. It is definitely a classic from the 1980s. But with all that being said, Shane, this is the first podcast that we've got a chance to talk to you since your latest MCS game. I know you're on the Redemption Tour. The last MCS game that you streamed, it was on a Saturday. It did not go well for you, and I think just to sum everything up, it was nothing that your opponent did. It was kind of on you, like with the mistakes that you were making in game. I think is a good way to sum it up.
Oh yeah. Really quick, let me go back to that car thing. So I was googling it, man, while you were talking about it. The highest crash rates are at age 16 to 17. The highest number of motor vehicle is just teenagers in general, 16 to 19, due to a lack of experience, reckless behavior, and distractions. They also wear their seatbelts less. I'll tell you that right now, bro. I don't know about you, man, and to each their own, but if I ever have a kid go out there and I find out they're not wearing a seatbelt, I don't care if they're 16, I'll spank that ass. CPS, I'm joking. Nah, I'm not. Anyways, yeah, bro, nothing against my opponent, but like, it was more self-inflicted mistakes in my personal opinion. I did not play fresh. I am a little worried, honestly, bro, coming up this weekend. I haven't played a lot. I haven't played enough. And it's really hard to play people of this caliber when you haven't played enough, like a lot, excuse me, I have the hiccups. It's like anything, right? Like a Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, they're going to still be good enough against normal people, but if they haven't played for a while, they're not going to get on the basketball court and school the top ranked basketball players that have been playing consistently. So that's my only fear for this weekend, but I definitely have the team. For the first time all year, I feel like I have the best team you can have. The only thing I'm missing is the QB, but I'm kind of liking Justin Fields. I heard Jaden Daniels is coming out, so I'd like to get him. But yeah, I mean, it was self-inflicted, Trey. I don't know, man. You watch the game and like sometimes like I'll be honest where I'm just like, damn, he was better than me or he was a better matchup than me. And I think if I can recall correctly, I forgot how much time was left in the first half and ran myself out of any point, so I had to force up like a 30-yard pass with no time left and got picked off because I did not do time management well. I believe I threw a pick six inside his 20-yard line, like, and I haven't done that all year long. Like, I was looking at funny thing, Trey, is I was looking at the stats, man, which is really, really cool. The one thing that I do love about Madden is that they keep the stats. So, like, going down to Justin Fields, because that's who I've been rocking with Pocket Deadeye, which is very, very good. And like I think Trey, I think I was like what 2 touchdowns, 2 picks in the tournament against him. Whereas like I have 100 passing touchdowns and 43 interceptions, which is like 2.5, almost 3 to 1. Where obviously I did 1 to 1 in the tournament. And if I don't do 1 to 1 in the tournament, it's a whole different game. But yeah, man, I'm definitely excited to be competitive, bro. It's always about that. Also, Trey, quick question, and then I'll go on something. Did you see my video I just made about the EA glitch?
No, I'll be honest. Like the new video about the EA glitch, I have not. Oh, I have seen it. It did pop up on my subscription feeds, and it seems like it was kind of a visual thing, from what I'm guessing. Or I don't really know. I haven't watched the video, but yeah, explain to people what the glitch is that you fixed that EA hasn't fixed.
Okay, so it's kind of like a visual thing. So, I made a video when Madden first came out. I believe it was Baker Mayfield. Um, I put Gunslinger on, and I came back and I couldn't play. It was crashing my game. I wrote EA. I know you remember this one, or at least I jogged your memory. I wrote EA. They couldn't help me.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, they
I
couldn't
remember
do
that.
any of it. So, long story short, I put human joystick on Jameer Gibbs, and I come back to all of a sudden I can't play again. And I'm like, what the hell? So I go into my upgrades, like everything's normal looking. I go to the last one, bro, and they overnight, Trey, overnight they removed the joystick ability and put secure protector in the final slot for Jameer Gibbs. So it was starting to crash my games, but I remembered how to do it. So all you have to do is you go to the training, you completely refund it after you take the player out of the lineup, you refund the whole training, and then you add the training back on, then you can redo it. But it's like, damn, they're going like in the middle of the night, Trey, and just patching it, bro, like, and not saying anything and crashing people's games. So that's basically what they did, bro.
Yeah, so definitely shout out to Shane for you know, explaining to people the stuff that EA doesn't patch and the stuff that no thanks to EA, the UMC. I know the UMC crew helped you out with the Baker Mayfield and the Madden crashing issue. If it wasn't for them, like, cause EA customer service is abysmal. You know what I mean? It's like who knows how long you would have been stuck in the menu. So yeah, shout out to the UMC crew and also Shane for doing his own research on that one. So yeah, so and I want to talk more about this tournament because you said that this is an MCS tournament. It doesn't count towards the MCS points. So I guess my question is why did this tournament come together? And so it came last minute. So I mean, like, what gives? What? Why are they having a tournament like that comes out of nowhere like this?
Bro, I am completely lost as well. There's people in our crew that a couple people aren't going to be able to play. There's people that are just literally confused why they did this at all. I don't know if they were waiting to the very last minute to hopefully give, the people out there that don't usually get to compete against top players, like maybe they're thinking less top players will play. I have no idea what they were thinking, Trey. I mean, they literally dropped it on Wednesday, a tournament in 2 days. And you got all weekend to try to qualify, and then next weekend to try to qualify. And that's how that's how you got to live, I guess, when you're in MCS and you're competitive pro. But don't you think, Trey, that's pretty wild on them that they just change up the plays or like the abilities without telling me? Like how do they get away with it? Like they literally just go and take an ability out of the game, bro, and let you try to figure it out yourself. Like I literally figured this out by myself, but like I try to help people as much as I can possibly. But I don't know, man. It seems cool. Like so, the whole Madrid tournament there, it's not going. It's MCS, so it's still the pro tournament. It just doesn't count for like MCS Madden Bowl tournaments, and it's a much lower payout, 10K for first place, which I mean most people would take, but it's first place plus you go to Madrid and watch the NFL game as well, which would be sick. But then they're like, you have to have a passport as well. So I don't know personally how many people are going to play or whatnot either.
Yeah, no, that definitely sounds interesting for sure. I mean, you talk about the international games. I mean, you talk about the Minnesota Vikings. They frickin' they go to I think it was Dublin. They went to Dublin 1 week, right? And then literally the next week after that, they go to London, which I think it's still Europe, but still, it's like that's a lot of traveling. Yeah, you spend all that time away from the United States, so yeah, that would definitely be cool to experience. But yeah, so and that's why they call it the Mildred tournament. It's 10K, which either of us will definitely take. And this is going to go in stages, right? So it's going to have like basically the same format as all the other tournaments, basically, or is it going to be a lot more condensed, over the course of 1 weekend?
Oh no, 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 Trey. It is like the exact replica of every MCS. So basically it's well, I mean it is MCS, but it's MCS without the points. So this weekend and then the following weekend, which would be the 17th and 18th. Wait, no. No, 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 excuse me. 11th and 12th, 18th and 19th, they're going to do basically play as many games as you can get in, top 544, make it out of whatever. There's usually 10,000, 5,000. Depends on the tournament. I don't know if they'll have tons this tournament. But I'd assume at least 5,000 top pros are going to try to make it. You know what I mean? But no, it's definitely like every other tournament out there. I mean, sometimes they only have it on one weekend to qualify, but yeah, they're having 2 weekends to qualify, and then if you make it to single limbs, you get to play on single elimination, which is the third weekend. Which would be October 25th. So we'll see how it goes, man. Hopefully, like I said, I won't be able to play tomorrow. I've probably played 2 games all week, which is not very good to get your game going, if you know what I mean. But we'll see how it goes, bro. We'll see how it goes. Definitely. I've got 14 million coins sitting there, bro, with the top team. Thanks to me, I'll just say winning some money, and we'll see how it goes, Trey. That's where I'll leave it at, man. Handle business, kick some butt. So we'll see how it goes.
And just in case there's any if there's any snitches or if there's any people from EA that are listening to this podcast, Shane Gayu 11 has 14 million coins legit. He does not buy coins. He doesn't do anything like that. All the coins that he's accumulated is through the correct means of acquiring coins. So I want to put that out there because some people might have the wrong idea on that. So yeah, it's gonna be a good stream. So why is it because you talk about this podcast being a more not an MCS tournament, but it is an MCS tournament type ish. So is that the reason why you decided to go the route of streaming it and making it available to everyone instead of just paid members?
You know, I was just trying to reach out to the general public, Trey. And yeah, Trey is right. It's absolutely the correct way. I did not buy coins. I actually pulled two Cam Newtons, which is an LTD, and was able to sell each one for like 4.5 million. So I made 9 million in two cards. So that very helped. And I've been, like I said, winning some games, and then also, spent some money. But no, I just think that I'm trying to figure out. And Trey, give me feedback on this. Maybe do more free streaming for the round robin part of the tournament, the try to make the top 544, but then single elimination paid member, or in your personal opinion for MCS tournaments, not other tournaments, but MCS tournaments, would you all make it strictly for paid members, even the trying to make the top 544?
Yeah, in my personal opinion, what I would do is I would stream like the ladders and stuff. Like the ladders and stuff could be free for viewing, but I think when you talk about single eliminations, then that I think is when you should charge people to become like to watch you stream Shane, right? As single eliminations. That would be my opinion on that.
Okay, perfect. So we're on the same wavelength then. Yeah, I mean, definitely single eliminations will be for the paid members. But yeah, man. So it would be crazy to make Real Madrid or whatever it's called, Madrid live event. That'd be cool as hell. Also, I am gonna try to do that Super Bowl package tournament again. They did say that they're gonna host it again, so hopefully they don't cheat me out of it like they did the one time. So we'll see how that goes. Um, there is Thursday night football on right now. Right now, spoiler alert: the New York Giants are upsetting the Philadelphia Eagles. And then also tomorrow, I got Game 5 of my Seattle Mariners versus Detroit Tigers. Winner goes on to the American League Championship. Loser is eliminated. So I'm gonna be stressed out, pissed off tomorrow. Um, but also, man, Trey, what was your weather like today? We had 81 degrees, and then in a couple of days, it's supposed to be down to 54. It is going to be a shock to the body.
Yeah, definitely going to be a shock to the system. Honestly, Shane, I mean, the weather here, like, I don't know if you can agree with me on this. The weather as of late has been perfect. Like, it's literally been the best weather that I think that I've personally experienced in my whole life of living in the Pacific Northwest. Um, but yeah, our weather right now, we are at a brisk 67 degrees, which to me is perfect weather right there. But it's been the same. It's been sunny, but not hot. It hasn't been raining and it hasn't been too cold. So if we can keep this weather going, I know the government is probably holding a tasty weather control system out there. So if they could just control the weather and make it like this all year round, I think I would definitely take it, Shane. So yeah, I was gonna ask you about your Seattle Mariners. I seen some of the games. I think it was the game two that the Mariners won to tie up the series to make it 1-1. So tomorrow is the be all end all. It's winner moves on, loser goes home. So how are you feeling about the Seattle Mariners? And is the game in Seattle or is it at wherever?
Um, so it's Seattle and Detroit, man. So get this. So game one, Seattle was supposed to win game one. They lost game one. Game two, they were supposed to lose because the Cy Young winner, basically, Scooble was on the mound and the Mariners beat him. That was the third time the Mariners had beat Scooble this year. Like I think it was something like the rest of the MLB, Scooble's 22-8 against with like a 2 ERA, which is fabulous ERA. And versus the Mariners, he's 0-3 with like a 3 ERA, so he's a 1 run worse. Um, Game 3, we beat Detroit in Detroit, and then Game 4 yesterday, I thought we were gonna win it. We were in Detroit again. The Mariners were up 3-0. Detroit fans were booing their own team, and then the Mariners crapped the bed. They crapped it completely. Like they opened up their pants and crapped it on the bed. Like it was horrifying. It was terrible. It was a bad loss. Now the Mariners are going to have to play in Seattle, which is awesome because they're elite at home, but they have to beat Scooble for a fourth time in 4 tries, which is honestly unheard of to do against, like, I mean, when an arm is that good, like a pitcher's that good, to beat him 4 out of 4 times against a playoff team, it's nerve wracking, man. I mean, I feel my personal opinion, Trey, is that the Seattle Mariners season ends tomorrow. They had their chance to end the season for Detroit yesterday. They had the chance to move on, but they kind of just choked it away, and now they have to play for everything tomorrow. They have to play for everything. Um, I just don't see them beating Scooble and Detroit a fourth time on the mound, Trey.
All right, so hopefully the Seattle Mariners season doesn't end tomorrow and they move on, and the underdog continues to move on in the MLB standings. But if it does end tomorrow, like you're predicting, when you look at this year, the 2025 Seattle Mariners team, do you think it was a disappointment? Do you think it was fun? Do you think it was a letdown? Like, how would you summarize the 2025 Mariners if it does, in fact, end tomorrow?
Honestly, Trey, it is one of the weaker American leagues in the past, I believe, 5, 6 years. The Mariners were picked to go to the World Series actually once the playoffs started out of the American League. Either them or the Toronto Blue Jays. Well, the Toronto Blue Jays are awaiting the Seattle Detroit winner. I would be let down. I mean, the Mariners roster, factually, statistically, is the best since 2001 Seattle Mariners. So 24 years ago, which is the last time they won the American League West, which is what they did this year. Um, they had to go to a game 5 to move on in 2001, and guess what they have to do 24 years later? They have to win a game 5 to move on. But no, if they lose tomorrow, man, it's gonna be a lot for me. Not because they lost to Scooble. I kind of accepted like a Scooble loss because he's that good. He's that dominating, man. Like Polanco, one of our hitters, hit a slider off Scooble. That was the first home run that Scooble has given up on a slider since May. So that's what, May to October, almost 5 months, bro. And I mean, just rare stuff that we did against them. You had to win game 1 when they had a bullpen start, and you had to win yesterday when you were up 3-0 midway through the game, and Detroit looked dead, and the fans for Detroit were booing. So, like, honestly, bro, like, if they would have won game 1, lost game 2 versus Scooble, and then won game 3 and 4, I'd be all right with it. But anything can happen tomorrow. I'm gonna be blood pressured up. I really feel like it's the end of the road, but I hope when we text each other, I'm completely wrong, Trey. The Mariners have won.
Yeah, definitely. Hoping that Shane Gayu 11 is wrong. The Nostradamus that he is not, because, anything can happen. I don't know what the phrase is in baseball because they play baseball every day, so it's not any given Sunday, but it can be any given day in baseball, something can happen. So, um, So who do you think, like, if the Detroit Tigers move on, do you think that that they will move on and eventually become the World Series champions? And who are some of the other teams in baseball that you think are going to win the World Series if not for the Mariners?
If I had to guess where, like, let's just say Seattle gets eliminated tomorrow, I think it'll be the Toronto Blue Jays in the World Series versus the Los Angeles Dodgers. That's where I'm going to guess. I'm going to go with Toronto versus LA Dodgers, and then I don't know who's going to win, but those are who I'm going to pick in the World Series if the Mariners lose tomorrow. If the Mariners win, Mariners in the World Series versus the Dodgers. That's what I'll take.
Yeah, and then shifting back to football for a second, the Giants are currently up 10 going into the fourth quarter, it looks like, against Eagles team, which I don't think anyone could see it coming. I mean, you're talking about Jackson Dart's second start, and so far I'm looking at the stats: 16 for 22 for 187 yards and one touchdown. That Cam Scadaboo guy from Arizona, he has 51 yards for 12 carries, which, I mean, it's 4 yards a carry, which is good, and he has two touchdowns along with the Jackson Dart, who also has 51 yards and a touchdown on the ground. So, I mean, at this point, Shane, do you think that Russell Wilson is cooked? Do you think that Russell Wilson should just retire after this year, or do you think he has a little bit more to show in the NFL?
Um, Honestly, bro, I think he probably should retire unless he's cool being a backup. He kind of looked like deer in the headlights his last start for the Giants. He kind of froze. And, like, people were like, yeah, but he had that 400-yard game. You and I think, believe, spoke on that. And, like, you will see occasional greatness from a once great player, right? Like Michael Jordan with the Washington Wizards. Nowhere near the basketball player that he was in Chicago, but he'd give you the occasional 40-point game followed by a 6-point game, right? And that's just old age. Like, just for me personally, on a, like, on a way, way lower level, like, I just don't have the gas tank. I just don't have the ability I did when I was 25 when I did 3-on-3 tournaments, right? I used to be able to play the whole game twice on Sunday and be good. So I understand it from a body, and I'm just talking about, like, how your body feels, Trey, right? Like, when you get older, your body doesn't feel the same. Like, I feel like I've been in pretty good shape, but boy, do I feel beat up. And I'm not an athlete like Russell Wilson or Michael Jordan, but you think in your mind, and even, like, I read on former athletes, they have it in their mind they can still be great and they know what they want to do. Their body just doesn't respond the same way, right? So I think Russell Wilson's probably shot, bro. I think he probably should retire.
Right, and then shifting over to the Eagles, watching the Eagles, it is a thing of beauty. I think there was a stat because they lost on Sunday, and they might lose today, but prior to that, I think they were kind of on pace to break the New England Patriots winning record because they won 21 games in a row. And they're saying that it hasn't been like 3 months since the Eagles ended up losing. And it seems like every time I see the Eagles play, I think you kind of have to maul them to win because they can beat you like running the ball, they can beat you throwing the ball. On top of that, they have a good defense. So I mean, if so do you think the Eagles will find their footing eventually, or do you think this Giants loss, and do you think the Giants are kind of onto something here in the division with Jackson Dart?
It's wild, bro. I was just looking something up. I guess, like, the head coach for the Giants was freaking out because Jackson Dart got hurt and Russell Wilson went in for, like, I guess, two horrific plays, and they caught the head coach yelling at the team doctor asking where Jackson Dart was. I mean, obviously Russell Wilson's just completely done. Jackson Dart and Scattaboo, I think, are going to be a dynamic duo for the next couple of years. I actually like Scattaboo's game. I wanted Seattle to get him, and Jackson Dart looks pretty good, bro. So I think the Eagles are just fine, but I think the Giants aren't the Giants of old with Jackson Dart and Scattaboo back there, bro.
All right, Shane. Well, I hate that I have to do this to you. It's been a while. You're probably hoping I didn't bring this up, but I kind of have to beat it up. But Baker Mayfield kind of tore you guys a new one in the game. You guys did a fair showing on offense, but Baker Mayfield definitely tore you a new one on the defensive side of the things. I mean, what's your takes on that game?
Honestly, I mean Baker Mayfield's a really good QB. That's just being honest. Excuse making, the Seahawks were missing most of their defense of backs. Tariq Woolen didn't play. Witherspoon didn't play. He was picking on the backup cornerbacks that were in the game. Um, and the Seahawks kind of look screwed right now, honestly, bro. They don't even know if some of the players that are missing the games are going to be back for the Jaguars game against your brother's team. So it could be not a great game at 10 a.m. I mean, I probably won't be watching. I'll be doing the tournament if you want to know the truth. But if you're missing your if you're missing your defense or you're missing your offense, it's going to be a hard time to win the game, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand what you mean by that. I think you guys would be good. I mean, you talk about the Jaguars who are coming off. I don't know if you've seen the Monday Night Football game against the Chiefs where Trevor Lawrence fell, and then he got up and then he ran it in for a touchdown, and they ended up beating the Kansas City Chiefs, which was amazing. Um, but yeah, I think that Baker Mayfield is actually going to be a sleeper quarterback for the MVP. Honestly, I think that Baker Mayfield is very underrated. I think he's one of my favorite QBs to watch. He's always, I mean, you can just tell with him, he has no fear. Like when he plays, like he's out there like trucking dudes. He has no fear when he's in the pocket, and he's just dynamic player, so I got nothing but love for Baker Mayfield. I think he's the RVD of the NFL, personally. But with that being said, Shane, do you do you think I'm gonna put you on the spot here on this one because we are talking about Russell Wilson earlier? So do you think when we're talking about all-time Seahawks, do you think that Russell Wilson is the greatest Seahawk of all time, or would you still probably say that Steve Largent would be the greatest Seahawk of all time?
So here's where I'm at, and like people could be like, okay, he's playing the fence, right? Um, it's hard. Do I think Russell Wilson's the greatest Seahawk of all time? No, I don't. And I really liked Russ. He was my favorite QB. There are some dark times growing up with QBs in Seattle. Dave Craig, Stan Gelbaugh, Stouffer. We thought John Kitna was so amazing when he was just an average QB because of how poorly the other QBs were, and nothing against John Kitna, straight out of Central Washington College. Um, the best Seahawk of all time. I mean, that's so hard to do, right? It's kind of like when you have the discussion, who's the greatest boxer of all time? Who's the greatest football player of all time? Who's the greatest basketball player of all time, and so on, right? Or soccer or MMA or whatever. It's like different positions for football. Like if I had to pick who's the greatest Seahawk of all time, I would say Cortez Kennedy. 1990s player. I don't know if you've heard of him, Trey, but Cortez Kennedy. I mean, he was on a 2-14 team, and he won Defensive Player of the Year. That's how dominant he was. He's in the Seahawks Ring of Honor, so I'd probably put Cortez up there. Obviously, Steve Largent, but then you got like Sherman, Cam Chancellor now. You got Brian Blades. You got Walter Jones. You got Sean Alexander. I mean, it's a lot going on. You got Marshawn Lynch. So for me, no, like if I had to be like, who's the best Seahawk that you feel like was the most dominating force? To me, it was Cortez Kennedy, Trey.
All right, so you're going with Cortez Kennedy. Yeah, Walter Jones was another one. I didn't hear. I haven't heard about Cortez Kennedy, so I appreciate you for putting me on to someone new. But Walter Jones was definitely a name. I was like, well, he definitely could be one of the people in the discussion. And honestly, I think doesn't DK Metcalf. I mean, I know he's kind of a later one, but I mean, if we're talking about modern like Seattle Seahawks, like aside from Marshawn Lynch, I think DK Metcalf has a case because he was probably the most dominant like offensive weapon that you guys had in a long time.
Oh, with ease, Trey. DK was setting records, and a lot of fans did not like him. Which, I mean, I just think it's how certain people look. I'll be honest. Certain people rub certain fans the wrong way, but like DK to me was a stud. I loved him. He was setting records for the Seahawks. So yes, he can be up there. Here, I'll give you something though, Trey, about Cortez Kennedy. Right? They have him listed as a rare combo of power, speed, and agility at his size. Pro Football Hall of Fame, inducted in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2012, 1992 NFL Defensive Player of the Year, despite his team being 2-14 because our offense was so bad. He was the NFL All-Decade Team for the 1990s. He made the Pro Bowl 8 times. He made the All-Pro honors 3 years in a row. I mean, bro, he is listed as one of the best defensive tackles to ever play the game. Like, here, I'll say this. He This is where some people, Trey, will argue ageism on me, and then I could argue ageism on the younger generation. Cortez Kennedy is as good, if not better, than Aaron Donald was, prime versus prime. There you go. That's where I'm at on it. So make that a clip, Trey. Cortez
All right.
Kennedy was as good as Aaron Donald in his prime, if not better. Bam, I said it.
Cortez Kennedy was better than Aaron Donald. You definitely heard it here first. And Aaron Donald, I think, should have got Super Bowl MVP instead of Cooper Kupp, but that's for a different discussion. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely interesting. So would you say that the Seattle Seahawks and another team in your division, the San Francisco 49ers, you had the return of the Mac Jones, and I guess there was a report that he's seen a dead body, like he was on a balcony and he just seen like a dead body in the ocean, which I don't know if it's that if that's like an omen for things to come or or whatever, but like do you think that Mac Jones doing well is a product of the system that he's in, and do you think it would be a hot take that Mac Jones, because he had a lot of weapons out in the game against the Rams on Thursday Night Football, and they ended up winning. So do you think it's a hot take to say that Mac Jones can be better than Brock Purdy in your opinion? And
I do, bro. I definitely do. You know, I will really quick going back. People will be like, "You are an idiot." 111 sacks for Aaron Donald to Cortez Kennedy's 58, right? 111 to 58. People will say you are an idiot. The highest Aaron Donald sack was 20 sacks in a year. The highest for Cortez Kennedy was 14 sacks in 1992. Now, here is the big difference because and I will answer your question, Trey. Here is the big difference to me, and this is where people need to take in the time or the era that's played. So in 1992, hold on. So in 1992, Trey, an NFL team average through a total of 16,000 times. Okay? 16,000 times compared to, let's use 2020, roughly 3,000 to 4,000 throws more. So you can't tell me that Cortez Kennedy wouldn't get more sacks when roughly there's 3,000, 4,000 more pass attempts. You know what I mean? Than back in the day. So I still stand by it. I think Cortez Kennedy would be better if he was doing the same era as Aaron Donald. I was never sold on Brock Purdy, Trey. I think the Shanahan system helps him out, kind of like the Andy Reid system, bro. So I think Mac Jones will be just fine. What I do find interesting is how well Daniel Jones is doing for Indianapolis compared to when he was with the Giants. So is that a Giants issue or is that a scheme issue where Daniel Jones had a different scheme with the Colts? What's your take on that?
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. I mean, it's probably a scheme issue because, I mean, Daniel Jones is doing his thing over in Detroit. I mean, even like with Sam Darnold, right? Sam Darnold, he was seeing ghost. Sam Darnold was seeing ghost, and then you fast forward, he takes the Vikings into a playoff picture, and then he gets shipped off to Seattle, and you talk about another, and even the quarterback before that, Geno Smith, right? He was kind of in a similar situation, and he got resurrected, and same with Mac Jones. So I mean, it is interesting. What's your opinion on that for Daniel Jones? And do you think that Sam Darnold was put in a bad situation with the Jets, and that's why he was able to kind of rebound and find his footing? And I think Geno Smith was also drafted by the Jets too, right? Maybe it's just like a Jets issue.
Definitely, I just think there's some bad teams out there, right? And no matter what happens, it they just kind of make the player look worse. I was old enough to remember David Carr, Derek Carr's older brother, who got drafted by the Houston Texans when they were a young franchise, and he got sacked so much he started seeing ghosts, right? Then he was never the same. Whereas maybe if he landed a backup role, right, with a good team, and then came to be the QB 3, 4 years later, he might have been another Derek Carr or better. I remember how good he was supposed to be. So for like, look at Baker Mayfield with Carolina. He was not. I believe he wasn't that good in Carolina, and then he became awesome when he moved away from them, and that's how I see it with the Jets. Unfortunately, sorry, Matt. Um, and so for me, for with Daniel Jones with the Giants, whatever was the reason, wasn't working out right, and it shows that he moved on and was better. Sam Darnold so far is looking better. I'm still not sold on Sam Darnold. Like he has to give me a couple more years of like doing what he's doing. Like I have some Seahawk fans that are saying that Sam Darnold is as good as Russell Wilson was prime versus prime, and that to me is just asinine. And I brought up the stats to him, and I mean they didn't reply really. They kind of skirted around, but like Russell Wilson's best years, Sam Darnold's best year was still worse than Russell Wilson's. So it was like, damn, people just forget or move on. And like, I think social media has given people a voice that really like shows how dumb some people are. I'll just leave it at that. How dumb some fans are.
That is an interesting question because I'm kind of looking back on it like I don't think did Geno Smith have a bad year last year because I don't really think he did. I mean, you could correct me if I'm wrong because short-term memory, but I mean, like, why did you guys like? Was it because Geno was asking for too much money? I mean, why did you guys decide to move from Geno Smith to Sam Darnold? Because I mean, they're kind of two comparable players, right? You would say.
From what I heard, Geno Smith and DK Metcalf didn't really like each other. They were hoping to get rid of Geno Smith to keep DK, but by the time they started doing that. DK wanted out, supposedly, is a behind the scenes story. Geno Smith had some red zone issues last year, bro. And then when Geno Smith left, he literally kind of like, which is weird how much people defend him. I don't have a problem with Geno. He was just like a bridge quarterback to me. Rooted for him when he's here, but it's whatever. But like him being like, I never thought Seattle was like my team. I mean, that's kind of odd. You were the quarterback for a couple years, so to me, that's an odd statement. And he's trapped in the bed with Pete Carroll and the Raiders. Oh, hey Trey, going back, right? You know how I was talking about Aaron Donald, Cortez Kennedy, and I'm like, people would say I'm an idiot because Aaron Donald had double the sacks. Here is a statistic, and this is why you can't really compare decades, right? Just say a great player is a great player no matter what sport you're in. Cortez Kennedy, only 9 teams, Trey, only 9 teams averaged 200 yards passing in a game in that year. So literally 9 teams out of 28 at the time in 1990 averaged 200 yards. In 2024, 22 teams hit that benchmark. They threw the ball more, they went downfield more. So when Cortez Kennedy was, in the defensive line, you only had 9 teams averaging 200 yards passing, Trey. Whereas, like, when Aaron Donald played, it was 22 teams. They passed the ball way more. So, like I said, let the greats be the greats. My humble opinion is Cortez would have the stats Aaron Donald would have or did have, and maybe a little more. But in the end, both are great. Hall of Famers.
Yeah, no, definitely Hall of Famer, no questions asked. It's gonna be interesting to see what the people think about that one. Probably gonna go viral on TikTok and social media, what have you. We're talking about quarterbacks, and I want to get your thoughts on Jalen Milroe. I mean, what are you guys doing in Seattle with Jalen Milroe? I mean, he kind of comes in for a player there. I know he had like that one option play where he kind of made a bad read when he's not supposed to, but I mean, do you think the Seahawks are kind of doing Jalen Milroe a disservice by kind of just like putting him out there like a play or two every now and then?
Yeah, I was wrong. I did think that Milroe would get more playing time. I didn't think Darnold would be as good as he's done so far this year, so I'm completely wrong on that. But I am right enough right where I said that Jalen would see playing time, even if it's minimal. And I mean, he just made a horrible option pitch, and like, it doesn't help if you throw him out there. Like, what is it, Trey? Like, I think he's done it like only 2-3 times this year. He's been out there. So no, that doesn't help him at all, but I think they're just trying to see what he has. I do think that they want him to be the quarterback of the future. I just think like he's at a disadvantage if you give him, like, if I go out there, Trey, and I'm like, hey Trey, I want you to shoot a 3-pointer, right? Your whole job is to go out there and shoot a three for me, but then I only let you play one every 4 games, and after one play or one shot attempt, I pull you. I mean, that's not going to help you, right? That's not going to help your confidence. That's not going to help your stats. It's not going to help the team, really, if that makes sense. Now, if I go out there and I'm like, hey Trey, I'm going to give you 1 to 3 shots a game, and then depending on how you look, if you're hot, I'll keep you out there more. If you're kind of struggling this game, uh, 1 to 3 plays will be total. I think that would help Milroe more, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, no doubt. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Milroe. So, I mean, you talk about I think the NFC is kind of, whatever happens to the Eagles, I think the Eagles are going to be the team to beat. I think the Eagles are probably the best team in football right now. But you go over to the AFC, I mean, you have Kansas City that's struggling. You have Baltimore that is really, I mean, Baltimore I think is on the verge of just a complete nosedive, relying on a 30-something running back at this point. And then you have Buffalo. Shout out to the New England Patriots. They knocked off Buffalo. And I don't know, the Patriots might be a team to look out for I'm not going to get ahead of myself, but they looked damn good, I would say, on Sunday Night Football when they took out the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen. So, I mean, when you look at the NFL as it is now, Shane, do you think the AFC, because I look at the AFC right now and I think it's kind of up for grabs for like any team right now?
No, no, no. You're spot on. I think the AFC right now is up for grabs. My personal opinion, since you are an AFC fan with the New England Patriots, you have to handle business right away, right? Um, Before teams like Buffalo or KC get their footing, right? I think the Baltimore Ravens are cooked. Um, Lamar Jackson is out. They didn't look that great with him in there anyways. The defense was getting exploited. Um, so I think yeah, it is open. The Jaguars look good this year so far. New England's on the up and coming. I just think that the teams that are trying to make themselves a name need to kind of take the lead before a team like Buffalo or the Patriots get their or the Bills and the Chiefs, excuse me, before the Bills and the Chiefs get their footing. So like a team like the Patriots, your team, or your brother's team, the Jags, need to kind of put the foot on the gas pedal, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, definitely got to hit the gas, got to handle business against the games that we're supposed to win. If we truly want to be a contender, and which is a game is going to be against the Saints, which if we want to contend for the playoffs, that should be a team that we should beat pretty handedly. And the Jags are definitely a team, and also the Colts with Daniel Jones, they could be something. So it's going to be interesting to see how the AFC plays out, but. The NFC, and then Jaden Daniels comes back, so we'll see if he can get it going. And Cam Ward, man, he's a rookie. We're both WSU fans. I know you were never kind of sold. You had questions about Cam Ward's decision making, so I don't know how much you've seen the Titans play, but they got their first win, but it has not looked very good for Cam Ward. So do you think it's a Cam issue, or do you think the Titans are kind of messing him up in a way?
I think it's everything. I mean, I personally think Cam Ward's a rookie. It takes time. I wasn't sold on Cam Ward, but I think it takes time, right? I think what the problem is in sports is everybody wants a instant gratification now. And then with social media, you hear more people wanting stuff and wanting more instant gratification. Here, I'll say this. I've said this probably numerous times, and it's probably like just okay, Shane, whatever. But like, you remember when you were at like a barbecue with your crazy uncle or your crazy aunt or your crazy friend where they had a wild sports take, and you just looked at them like, what? Like, what are you talking about in your head? But you didn't say anything because it's whatever. Now you are on social media and there's millions that are making comments like that. For example, Julio Rodriguez, right? Center fielder for the Seattle Mariners. There were so many fans on my timeline that wanted him benched or talking about how he's not a good enough player and yada yada yada, and he should be sent down to AAA. And I wish we would have traded him over Jared Kelenic and yada yada. And it was going on so bad. Well, Jared Kelenick's not even in Major League Baseball anymore. The Atlanta Braves cut him after the Mariners traded him. He got cut because he wasn't good enough. Julio Rodriguez is like one of four Major League Baseball players to have 100 home runs, 100 stolen bases in his first four seasons, right? So that's ludicrous that there's fans out there saying like he's not a good player. And that's what I'm saying because with social media, you can see what that crazy uncle or that crazy friend or that crazy aunt was talking about, Trey.
Yeah, no, no question. And I think we're both kind of even keel when it comes to fandom. So what do you say? Because I know you have family members that are also into sports. So I mean, like when you guys ever go to like sports together, or you're like watching sports together. Is there ever any heated discussions amongst you, or do you think you're kind of on the same similar wavelength a lot of the times?
Um, I mean, my brother and I are close, but we'd get in arguments when it came about Russell Wilson in his prime, which I'll stand by it. And he'll stand by, what he felt. He's a huge Pete guy. I was a huge Russell guy, but I was also a Pete fan. I just felt like Russell Wilson helped just as much as Pete Carroll helped. Um, I mean, I have watched games with some family members. Obviously, I'm not gonna say because I'm not gonna get issues, but yeah, they have some wild takes that are they come across like they're facts when they're real opinions, if you know what I mean, Trey, and it's like doesn't make much sense, if you know what I mean. Like, so for me, it is like that. So like, but with them, when I'm with them and they make those takes, I just don't say anything. Like, for a while, I would say something, but then I'm like, dude, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter if they think Russell Wilson's a better running back than a quarterback. It doesn't matter if they think Tom Brady's a better tight end than a quarterback. Like, it's whatever, right? And I've even tried to be better on social media. Sometimes when I get annoyed, I'll have it, but like lately I've been much better of just like, does it really matter? You know what I mean, Trey? Does it really matter in the end? Like, no. So it's whatever.
Yeah, it's definitely whatever. And, don't get it twisted about Russell Wilson. There is nothing pretty, like, sometimes there's nothing prettier on earth than when Russell Wilson throws one of his signature moon balls. It is a thing of beauty. So, people saying that Russell Wilson is a running back or whatever, like, Russell Wilson was a ball spinner. Like, he was definitely one of the best passers, like, when he was around. So, want to get that out there. All right, Shane. So we're moving on to the Would You Rather segment, and I have a fire Would You Rather question for you. So my question for the Would You Rather segment is: Would you rather have a brand new car, or would you rather have first class airline tickets for 2 years? For
Oh man, easy for me, Trey. Easy. I take the brand new car. I don't want to get in the airplane at all. I'm being honest. So I take the brand new car. What about you, Trey?
Oh yeah, I forgot. So you just don't like flying like period at all. So you would probably take the brand new car either what. Either way. I'm trying to think if I can modify the question a little bit for you. Are you a fan, like, do you like the water at all? Do you kind of like the water? Because I would probably modify it and say, you could have the free car or you could go on a cruise like
I,
anytime you want for like 2 years.
I do like the water, Trey. So I love the water. I still am taking a brand new car. I mean, I have some beat up cars, man, and like paying for to fix her up. Not a fan of. Like tomorrow I have to bring in my car because the heater stopped working and it's ice cold in the car. So I would honestly, just from a smart standpoint, I would take a brand new car, Trey. What about you?
Yeah, no, I mean, even with me, like, I don't mind flying, but I mean, having I think first class is definitely kind of tempting. If it was like a commercial, then yeah, but I mean, like, you get first class, you got to flex on everybody. You can just show up whenever you want, and they kind of treat you good than everyone else because you're because you're first class. I would probably still take the brand new car, to be honest. I would probably agree with you on that. People say, oh, it has the brand new car smell, and every time I hear that, I'm like, man, I'll probably never get to experience what a brand new car smell is even like. So yeah, I would probably agree with you on that. Do you have a would you rather segment for this one, Shane?
Trey, I actually have two of them, and then that's it. Would you rather be with someone who's brutally honest with you, or somebody who tells white lies to protect your feelings?
Yeah, so basically what you're telling me is, do I want someone that is going to tell me what I want to hear as opposed to someone that's going to be telling me what I need to hear? And of course, like, I mean, it's tempting to have people like that kind of boast you up and stuff, but when stuff goes down, like, are they going to be there for you anymore? Probably not. So I would probably say I'd rather take the person that's brutally honest, that's going to call me out whenever I'm, crashing out or when I'm not doing things right and when I'm in a bad way. I'd rather have someone like say get your crap together versus someone that's going to lie to me and say that everything's good when in reality it's not.
Oh, I hear you on that, bro. Like, I probably would take the brutally honest too. I mean, it's hard for me for the fact like I'd probably be middle. Again, that's sitting on the fence, so I would lean towards being honest with you because damn, dude, sometimes like brutally honest, like you're a bum, man, or you're the reason your family's broke, or like and I'm using this as an example, or like man, your IQ is so low, like you are one of the dumbest people. Like that is hurtful, man. That is hurtful. I just honestly I couldn't see myself doing that. Like I couldn't go up to somebody that's my friend and be like, "Yo, you're the reason your family's broke," or your IQ is so dumb. Like you're dumb. You're just a dumb human being. And some white lies to me are okay, right? Just being honest, but I couldn't white lie everything because that doesn't help the person at the same time. There has to be some middle ground for me. But if I had to pick, I would go with being brutally honest, Trey. And then the last would you rather on my side is this. Would you rather have your partner be a mind reader or never argue again with your partner?
Can you say that again one more time? You cut out. So the question was, would you rather have your partner be a mind reader, or what was it?
Never have to argue again with them.
Okay, I got you. So, would I rather have my partner be a mind reader or never have to argue? I think that arguments are necessary. I think it would be kind of disingenuous if you're in a relationship and this does not even just like, like husband and wife relationships, but like friend relationships, siblings relationships, family, father, son, whatever. I think you kind of need arguments. Like, you can't walk up to any human being on earth and like, no human being on earth is going to say I never had an argument with my parents in my life. Like, you can't find anyone like that. So I would probably say, I would probably say I would probably say the mind reader thing, even though I kind of do tend to have some not good thoughts sometimes. But yeah, that's kind of a weird one for me, Shane. What do you think on that?
Bro, uh, I would rather argue with my partner, bro. I would not want them to be a mind reader. Like, bro, everybody has the weirdest things. Like, everybody, I think they said 94% of humans have intrusive thoughts. Only 6% that don't are like sociopaths or people that are like very, very low IQ. Um, so all basically most of the world has these. So like if your girl is a mind reader and you're like, man, I wonder if she'd like blah blah, and it's just out there. Or if you're like, man, I could smash a kid's head into the wall right now, nobody could do a thing. I'm just making it up. And your girl's right there, she's gonna think you're a sociopath, bro. So I would probably go the safest route and say never argue again, Trey.
Yeah, that's a good point. So that's what you're worried about, right, Shane? You're worried about that your wife is going to see, someone cut you off in traffic and then you're going to be thinking, I want to do X, Y, and Z to this guy, and she's going to be like, "Oh my god, I'm scared." But what she's not going to find out is you're not going to look at a girl walking by and that has a nice body, and then she's gonna be upset with you because you were thinking that, right?
No, well, like honestly, bro, like if I get pissed off, I'll say the shit in the car. Pardon my language. I'll be like, dude, I want to punch him in his face. But sure, I mean, like I think it's okay. Like my mother-in-law said, you can look at the buffet. You're just not supposed to touch it when you're in a relationship, right? To say that somebody's not good looking of the opposite sex or whoever you're attracted to while you're in a relationship is just a lie in itself, right? It's more that that is a white lie that is not needed, right? Like you can't tell me like a female like I'll use my wife. She thinks Hugh Jackman's good looking. I'd rather have her tell me the truth, right? And be like, "Yeah, he's a good looking dude," than like white lie it and then I hear from her friends, that she drools over him. Does that make sense, man? Or like I, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. So your wife thinks that Hugh Jackman is attractive. Who do you think is attractive? I'm gonna put you on the spot right now.
Oh man, she knows, bro. Like Salma Hayek is like one of the women that like I thought was super hot growing up. I thought she was good looking. I mean, I have tons of them, man. Carrie Underwood's good looking. Jennifer Aniston. I mean, but like Salma Hayek's really, really good looking. Like Prime. I mean, Salma Hayek for me was one of the women up there, man. But no, it's just like you don't need to always hear it. Like, can you imagine if like you get a mind read your girl's thoughts and like my girl's looking at a guy and like, damn, I wish he'd shove it in me. Like, damn, I don't need to hear it, bro. I don't need to hear it. Or like, damn, look at that guy. He's so buff. I wonder what his muscles feel like. Everybody has that kind of thought, bro. Like if a guy sees a girl with a nice butt and she's like wearing a tight dress, a guy's gonna be like, damn, that ass is nice, right? We got a little like R-rated, I don't know, PG-13, but like you know what I'm talking about though, Trey, right? Do you think like your girl's gonna want to hear it? Like there's some women out there, some men out there that are like cool with it, right? Like they kind of get turned on by it. Like, ooh, you think that guy's hot? And then you go home and like give it to each other because of she saw a hot guy or you saw a hot girl. But like I don't know. For me personally, like I don't need to know 24/7 like what my girl's thinking. I mean, it is funny because like if a girl with like big boobs is like jumping up and down, I will look at my wife and be like, "Really, Jess?" And she'll laugh and smile because she can witness them too. See what I'm saying? Like she doesn't swing that way, but you can still know when somebody's attractive if that makes sense, Trey.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense, and like, because I look at some of the stuff like in the early 2000s, like when you were growing up, and like the people that were attract. I'm not saying that there weren't attractive people back then because they are, but you didn't really see like girls that have like BBLs and like are kind of overblown. They were kind of more like more on like the skinny side. So I mean, like when you were growing up, like were people like were like all the dudes like, oh, she has a nice butt or whatever? Or was it kind of later when like people started to become more like attracted to like the ass, so to speak? So
Honestly, bro, growing up when I was like 14 to 18, so what was that? 98 to 2002, it was all about the fake boobs. It was all the Pamela Anderson kind of girls, right? Skinny, honestly, I'm going to say this, skinny white girls with fake boobs. So that's what like the cool thing was and people were attracted to. I mean, I always like butts even back then. Like I don't want them too big, but like if there's a nice bubble butt for sure. Like but yeah, back then it was totally different. It was more like, fake boobs with like no butt really was the attractive thing, whereas like or a skinny small butt, I'll say. Whereas nowadays it's all about that bubble butt, right? It's all about that, working out and like guys are always going to be attracted to certain things. Some people, in my opinion, will get like they become like sheep mentality where like they are about what's in instead of their own preferences. So like for me, like I was attracted to all kinds of women. I mean, like growing up, I thought Britney Spears when I think she's a little bit older than me, but like she was super, super pretty. I thought Christina Aguilera was pretty, and then even when she did like the Dirty Phase, that song or whatever, I thought like, damn, yeah, she's nice. Salma Hayek back then, she honestly aged like fine wine, bro. You want to know a doppelganger though, bro? Help me out. You know the girl who did Barbie World and was what's her name? The crazy girl in Batman, Harley Quinn. Margot Robbie? Have you ever seen her doppelganger from the 1950s, bro?
Yeah, no, sorry, I was just looking her up, but no, I haven't seen it. Oh, she was on The Wolf of Wall Street, so she was Jordan Belfort's like in the movie, like in real life. I forget what happened, but she was the girl that Jordan Belfort broke up with, and then yeah, so yeah, she was obviously good looking back then, huh?
No, but like I just sent you the screenshot. Margot Robbie has a doppelganger that was an Italian woman that was famous in the 1950s. Her name was Sophia Loren. Dude, she is like, for me personally, she looks a lot like Margot Robbie. I sent you the screenshot, bro. Um, Obviously they're not the same, but like you could say like a doppelganger because there's only so much genetic makeup, right, in this world, they say. So I sent you the screenshot. Did you get the picture of her?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Yeah.
That's wild, bro. Anyways,
Yeah, yeah, no, it's definitely crazy. I mean, it's like even like Taylor Swift. I mean, I'm not saying that she's not like attractive, but it's like I can't picture myself like you can't even tell that she's bending over. Like no matter which way you do it, you're gonna feel like you're just like slamming into like a board or something like that. You know what I mean? But on that note, Shane, this was a good podcast. I know that you're a busy guy, and I know you're getting excited. You said to me before we started this podcast that you're going to sleep for 12 hours, which I don't think you've probably slept for 12 hours in your life. I don't think so. Maybe 6 hours would be a better estimate for you. But we appreciate you guys for checking us out on the West Coast Podcast. We hope you guys have a good weekend. We hope that your NFL teams are going to win unless they're the Saints. In that case, I don't want you guys to win. Um, but with all that being said, I'm going to throw it back over to Shane to close this out. Make sure you check Shane Got You 11 for any future streams that he's going to be doing this weekend coming up, and become a member if you want to support the channel even more. You get more access to past live streams and all that good stuff. So yeah, I'll throw it back over to Shane to close this out for another edition of the West Coast Podcast.
I appreciate it, Trey. Like always, man, it's a blessing to do a podcast with Trey. I know we're both busy in life, but it's awesome that we do it twice a month. Um, yeah, I won't be getting 12 hours, Trey. It was all a lie. By the time I get settled in, I'll probably be in bed by 2 and up by 7 a.m. like I am. So 5 hours of sleep, which I'll be even more exhausted because I'm literally going on now after my little nap, 3 hours of sleep. Got a lot of stuff to do after this podcast ends. But anyways, you guys, so we thank you. We'll be back October 24th. the week before Halloween. Definitely come check out the stream this weekend for the tournament. Go check out Trey's YouTube. He puts out some amazing videos. This is Shane, and he was Trey. I appreciate you guys. We will see you in a couple weeks.